So when you're doing your service, your safe start, when you're starting your whole free trip, this is what you're going to tell them. I'm doing my safe start. My foot is on the brake. The bus is secure. It's in neutral. I'm going to turn the key on. I'm going to wait for these right here. Wait to start an ABS light to turn on. They're on. And wait for them to turn off properly. You also heard the cycling of the engine, didn't you? Mm-hmm. Do not start this bus if you hear that engine cycle. I don't care what lights are off. Understood? Mm-hmm. So once it starts, now it's going to build pressure. If you look at these air gauges, it's a primary and it's a secondary air gauge. It has to be, the cutoff is between 120 and 140. Sometimes you can do this, rev up the engine to actually help the pressure to climb. It should take no more than 45 seconds for that to take place. Because you notice these needles are moving. And you'll be able to hear the sound of the cutoff. You hear it? Mm-hmm. That's your air cutoff. So tell the examiner the cutoff did happen between 120 and 140. Now we're going to do the applied brake test, which means my foot is on the brake. I'm going to turn the key off. Now I'm going to turn it in the on position, but not starting it. I must push in this valve. That's called unsecuring the bus. If I don't unsecure it, I will not be able to do the test that's going to be following. I'm waiting for these needles to stabilize, which means they're not moving. So you keep your foot pressed firmly on this. I shouldn't have no air leak, no loss, 3 psi loss in a matter of 1 minute. Now, can you gauge 3 psi's on here? You can't look at it and gauge that. So you just want to make sure and be cognizant that those needles don't move. Once you reach 60 in your head, when you get to count to 60 in 1 minute, you should not have an air loss, and you tell them there's no air loss. I'm going to move on to my low air pressure warning test. So that means I'm going to pump the brakes. And these needles, once it hit before 55, the light and buzzer will come on. But you're going to continue to pump the brakes. Why? Because when you do your emergency test, you'll still be pumping it, and at 30 psi's, this valve should pop out. So I'm going to proceed on to my low air pressure warning test. I'm pumping the brakes. Just go all the way down and come up. You don't have to pump them a whole lot real fast, because you notice I'm going slow, right? Mm-hmm. Now look at this. Before 55, the light and buzzer did come on. I'm going to continue to pump the brake because this emergency brake, that's what I'm doing, is going to pop out at about 30. And it did. So now I'm going to start it up to build pressure. So now this was an actual test. You can proceed with your emergency equipment before you do your service brake. So you just say it this way. Up there is this first aid kit. Inside that first aid kit is 9 seal packs, 1 pack of spare fuses. Up here behind that panel is a body fluid cleanup kit. It is also secured to the bus. The fire extinguisher is up there. You might want to show it to the examiner when you get in and let them know it's up there. What about the fire extinguisher? You're going to say it's secure and not damaged. The tag is current. The needle is in the green showing proper range, and the pin is in place. Now, down here, you have 3 safety triangles with the security of the bus. And over there, further back, behind the seat, you're going to have 3 safety flares, which is also secured to the bus. So now what you're going to say is I have 7 mirrors, the brackets, windshield, and the seal, which is secured to the bus. You might say, where's my 7 mirrors? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that's your 7th right there. The state sticker here has to be current. Then you're going to turn your wipers on. Turn them on low. Says they're secure, not damaged, and working, and they're working on high. You turn them completely off. Now you push the button to make sure the fluid is working. And you let it go. It should stop by themselves. The fluid is also working properly. Now you're going to move down and address your gauges as the pressure is still building. Your gauges. The temperature, oil, amp, and voltmeters are all working. All the gauges are working properly. So from that point, you're going to turn on your hazards and say, my hazard indicators are working. Turn them off. Left turn signal indicators working. Right turn signal indicators working. What about my student amber lights? You hit this button here that says flashes on. There's your student amber lights. They're working. What about the red? Well, your red indicator as well as the stop arm out here is also working. Turn those off. You check your headlights, and if you look right here, you flick it, you can see the blue that's popping up there. You know your high beams are working also. So you turn those off. And you can tell them my cutoff again happened between 120 and 140 PSI. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do my service brake test now, okay? The way you do your service brake test, you unsecure the bus, you put it in drive. And what you're gonna do, I'm not gonna pull forward the way I would normally do because he's standing recording, but you're gonna hit the gas, you push the gas pedal to the floor, believe it or not, and then take it right off because that'll get you to 5 miles an hour. You're supposed to pull forward no more than 5 miles an hour, and when you apply the brakes, the vehicle shouldn't move left or right. So now that you've accomplished that, you tell the examiner it didn't move left or right. Now I'm gonna do my parking brake test. I'm gonna secure it, put it in neutral, and you heard the pop. Pull out the brake. Now it's secure. It's parked. So do the parking brake work? Well, we'll find out when we put it in drive. Now I'm going to apply the gas. Hear the gas? If you notice, the parking brake is holding against pressure. The vehicle isn't moving. So therefore the parking brake is doing its job, so you put it back in neutral. So now I'm going to continue on and finish up this part of the pre-trip so you guys will know how to do it. These are your fans, the left fans. They're working on low and high. The right fan is working on low and high. Your heaters are self-named. Here's the driver heater. It's working on high and low. The step well heater, it's working high and low. Here's the defrost fan. It's working high and low. The rear heater, low and high. And then the strobe light. You see that little red thing that's there? The little red indicator? You just tell them the strobe light indicator is working. You don't know if the strobe light is working because you're not outside the bus. So just tell them the indicator is working, as well as the rear dome indicator, driver dome indicator, and the dome light indicators, the rears. So you can look and say the driver dome, front dome, and the rear domes are all working. Now these three switches, you turn them off, but you leave the strobe light indicator on, okay? You're gonna open the window, driver window. It opens and closes freely. The seat belt is secure, not damaged, cut, cracked, or frayed. And also, the seat is secure and adjusted properly for me. What about that door? Does it open and close freely? Let's hit this button. The door opens and it closes freely. What am I gonna do now? Hit my horn. The horn works. Now, at this particular point in time, you're gonna look around and check everything. Did I miss something? That's what you ask yourself. And the reason why you're asking yourself that question, because as long as you don't get out this seat, you can start over. Once you step out this seat and you miss anything on your air brake, you automatically fail. So make sure if you realize, oh, I forgot something, then you can start from the beginning. That's what you do. That's the only out that you have, because you only get one warning through the entirety of the whole test. So what I'm going to do now, since the bus is secure, I'm going to turn the vehicle off, and I'm going to flick this switch here so to relieve the air pressure off the door. I'm going to unbuckle the seat belt, and I want him to keep recording because since I'm here, I'm going to do the whole pre-trip for you guys, okay? And when you step off the vehicle, what you're going to do, 3 points of contact. The rails and your foot tread, and you go off backwards. Why? Because you're maintaining like this, 1, 2, 3 points of contact. So you're going to step outside.
No, he needs to record. Go ahead.
This is how you latch the hood down. So we're going to unlatch the hood by doing this. And we got to unlatch the other side. Now when you're opening the hood, get this little hand thing here. You think the hood is heavy, actually look. This hood is very light. So when you step to this side, you're only going to check the major things that I talked about before. There's an alternator and wiring is secure and not damaged, properly connected. It's also belt driven. The belt, secure and not damaged, cut, cracked, or frayed, no more than 3/4 of an inch plate. Below here is the water pump. It's secure and not damaged, belt driven, no leaks. Radiator and fan, as you can see, secure, is not damaged. None of the blades are missing, and there's no leaks. All the hoses connected, there's no leaks. Let's walk around to the driver's side. When you come around here to the driver's side, you're just going to tell the examiner, I'm going to pull the dipstick to make sure the oil's at proper level. But you do not have to pull the dipstick. You just tell them, I'm pulling the dipstick to make sure it's at proper level. Now you go here. Coolant reservoir and hoses secure and not damaged, no leak. The steering reservoir and hoses secure and not damaged, no leak. Air compressor, governor, and hoses secure and not damaged. I don't hear any leaks because you can't see air leaking. You don't hear it. It's gear driven. It's behind this, right down there. These are the hoses and wiring up here, secure and not damaged, cut, cracked, or frayed. I don't hear or see any leaks. This here is your steering shaft. Steering shaft is secure and not damaged, no leak. Connected here to the steering gearbox and hoses is also secure and not damaged, and there's no leaks. Steering linkage is secure and not damaged. None of the parts are missing, and there's no leak. Because if you notice, every time there's a hose involved, I always say no leak. A steering linkage is more than one part, so nothing's missing. Down here, that long thing is your spring. It's a leaf spring. The spring is secure and not damaged, no missing or shifted spring. Leaf spring and torque. Front mount, the U-bolt, because if you look, it's shaped just like a U, right down there. And then you have your rear mount, it's secure and not damaged. Now what we want to do, we want to pull everything toward us, okay? So if you leave this area, you're coming toward us, that would be the shock absorber. The shock absorber is secure, not damaged, no leak. Now, why would I say no leaks on the shock absorber? Because it's filled with hydraulic fluid, okay? You see this hose coming from here to here. That's the air brake chamber and hose, secure, not damaged, no leak. That down here is your slack adjuster. Slack adjuster and push rod, it is secure, not damaged, no more than 1 inch pull. Now this is the part here. Up under here is your brake lining and drum. It's free of contaminants and not dangerously worn. Okay, how do you know that? Well, you can't see it, you can't take it apart. You're just pointing in the general direction. Now, you got your rim here. It's secure, not damaged, no repair wells. So logically, what's sitting on your rim? Your tire. There's no cuts or bulges. You don't have bulges on the side of it. And the tread depth is no less than a 4/32 of tread depth for the front. So what's holding the tire and the rim on? Lug nuts. There's no rust or shiny trails to indicate that they're loose. This is a hub seal. If you notice, it's secure, not damaged. You see any oil leaking? It's very important when you're driving your vehicle, if you see any oil leaking from here, you tell the mechanics immediately, because that heat can ignite that oil and you have a tire fire. And then, is the tire flat or is it inflated? It's inflated, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to tell them, I'm going to check the inflation with a tire gauge. Are you doing it? You just tell them to examine that. And then your mud flap, it's also secure, not damaged. Now, when you do that, you come back around here, and you're going to close the hood. Like I said, it's very light. And what you're going to do, you're going to latch it back. So you put this right up under here, and you pull it down.
Specifically that one first?
You can do either one. It's up to you. And then you're going to tell her the brackets is secure to the bus. If you notice, they're not wobbly and they're not moving. You're going to secure this. Then you're going to address the stop arm. The stop arm is secure and not damaged to the bus. The lettering is readable. The lens is not cracked or broken. And the wires are not cut, cracked, or frayed. You're also going to walk to the back wheel because you're going to check the back wheel. The back wheel is identical to the front. Nothing's different except 3 items, and there's no fluid back there. You don't have a reservoir of antifreeze back there. But while you're walking back there, you still got to check the floor, frame, cross member, dry shaft, and exhaust. So are you under the bus? Can you see it? No. So this is how you do this. You say the floor is secure and not damaged. The frame, you can see the railing back there, the frame, where all those bolts at, is secure and not damaged. The cross member secure and not damaged. That dry shaft, that long round circular bar, is your dry shaft. It's secure and not damaged. exhaust, secure and not damaged. There's no signs of soot and there's no sign of leakage from the exhaust. So now we're going to start naming the same thing we did in the front. Leaf spring and torque is secure and not damaged. None of the springs are missing or broken. Then you have your front mount, U-bolt, and rear mount is also secure and not damaged. One of the things that's different on this bus, see that big bag back there? There's a big round canister, look. But that is an airbag. So you see it's no leaks. You don't hear any leaks. It's secure and not damaged. Also, the shock is secure and not damaged. There's no leaks. Then you have the air brake chamber and hoses, which is also secure and not damaged. I don't hear any leaks, okay? Slack adjuster and push rod, secure and not damaged, no more than 1 inch pull. If you notice, you can't see things back there, right? You're just pointing in the general direction. That's all they want you to do. Just point in the general direction. Then you're gonna say the brake lining and drum is also secure and not damaged and not dangerously worn, and there's no contaminants. The rims, just like the front, secure, not damaged, no repair wells. The tires, no cuts or bulges, okay? But in the rear, it's no less than 230 seconds, okay? There's no bulges on the side. Now, here's another difference. You got two wheels back here. This, in between the wheels, is called a bus spacing. So there's no, it's secure, not damaged. How we know? It's no foreign objects. Nothing is dropped in between there. Same thing, you're gonna check the inflation with the tire gauge. Lug nuts, no rust or shine spots to indicate that they're loose, but instead of a hub seal, this is your drive wheel, so it's an axle. So you say my axle is secure, not damaged, no leak. You also have your mud flap, okay? Now we're gonna come to the back of the bus. You're gonna open the door. Door opens and closes freely. It opens and closes, but now you're gonna check your prop rod, make sure it holds. The prop rod is holding, it's secure, not damaged. So now snap back and you close it. I tell everybody, the way you to remember to check the prop rod is to know why it's installed. This prop rod on all these buses was installed because the bus had an accident, it slid into the front part, slid into the lake. Students was coming out the back. All of a sudden it sunk a little bit further. Water pressure slammed the back. So you know what happened? They drowned. So now the prop rod is installed. That'll help you remember it. So this vehicle is in the way, so we're gonna use this bus, which is basically the same thing. So at this point, you're gonna say I'm gonna check the passenger side, just like I did the driver's side, but I'm only gonna check the things that are different. So let's see what's on the passenger side. Let's see what's different.
Dwayne said thank you.
Okay. Fuel tank and cage. Here's your fuel tank and here's the cage. If you notice, there's no leaks. Here is where your gas cap is at. What you're going to do here is you're going to unscrew the gas cap, screw it back on. Then you're going to close this. What else is different? Well, you have your door. The door opens and closes freely. You have here your rubber around the doors, the glasses, the window is secure, it's not cracked or damaged. Then you have this is your step tread. It's also secure and not damaged. And then your step lens is secure and not damaged. The lens is not broken. These are your handrails. They want you to put on them. Handrails is also secure and not damaged. You step on the bus. When you step on the bus, you turn the key in the on position. The reason why you put the key in the on position because you got to check the emergency buzzers. So you're standing on the floor, right? The floor is secure and not damaged. Top of the seats, the bottom of the seats is secure and not damaged. Just touch a few of them. Now you have to name your emergency exits. It's very easy to name the emergency exits because they're printed right here. You have two windows on this side, two on this side, two hatches, one back door. So you can easily say I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 exits, right? So you tell them I have 7 emergency exits, but if I count that front door, I have 8, right? So now you can open the back door or you can do this. You hear the buzzer? You're lifting up this red exit, just in case of emergency. Now we know the emergency buzzer is working. But what about the rear? Is the rear working? You don't have to open the door, just lift it up. Now we know that that's working. Let's go back to the front. So now at this point in time, we're going to go outside and we're going to check all the lights. All the lights. Even though you may say, well, we just checked the lights when we was on the bus, right? We checked the indicators, but are the lights actually working outside? That's what we need to understand. So we're going to step outside and we're going to do that. This part of the test is kind of self-explanatory.
You need to hear what he's gonna do. What you gonna do?
So when we're checking the lights and the lights are on, there's two ways you can do this. You can turn all your lights on and you can from the inside of the bus. Now, if you're sitting on the inside of the bus and you turned your lights on, you can look in your mirrors and you can tell the examiner the lights are on, you can see the lights are on, you can see the turn signals are working and everything else. You can see that. But when it's come to checking the rear, they will check your brakes for you, if the brake light is working or your hazards is working in the rear. But you actually have to come out and physically look at these lights. Those top lights up here and running on the side of the bus and tops are your clearance lights. The ambers are your students. Amber lights and the student reds. And you have to say this when you come out. My reflector tape around the doors and windows secure. None of the lenses are cracked or broken. And you can see, I can see my headlights are working. My clearance lights on top is working. My student ambers are working if you had them on. You step to this side. You're going to say the same thing. My reflector tape around doors and windows secure. None of the lenses are cracked or broken. You can see my clearance lights are on, my marker lights on. And you're going to proceed to go around the rear of the bus, say the same thing. The passenger side, say the same thing. Once you've done that, you did a physical check on your lights, because when you drive your car and you see when your light's not on, don't you change it? Would you drive with a headlight out? That's a ticket, right? How much more so in a CMV vehicle? So that is, believe it or not, the whole complete pre-trip. Now you're going to do the skill where you're going to do a straight line backing. And then you're going to do an offset backing. It's like going from this lane to this lane. And I'm going to show you a video on that, and you're going to see me do it also. And then you're going to have your alley docking, which is very easy. And then we're going to leave the alley docking, you're going to do your student stop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say what the student stop is. You're going to have 3 poles there. At the first pole will actually mark the beginning of a 200-foot distance. And then the middle pole is going to be 100 feet. The last pole is where the student. So when you're doing that, I'm going to give you the paper and I'm going to demonstrate it. But since part of this pre-trip here, I'm going to just tell you what it is. What you're going to say is this. Before 200 feet, I will activate my student amber, and you point to your student amber lights going. And then you say, I'm checking my mirrors. Then you say at 100 feet, I'm going to put my right turn signal, checking my mirrors. I'm going to just veer the steering wheel a little bit, move to the right like you're going closer to the curb. You say, I'm going to have the student remain seated till the bus comes to a complete stop. And then you proceed forward. And then you stop 10 to 15 feet before the student. And then you say, once the bus has come to a complete stop, I'm checking my mirrors. I will now secure the bus. That means you put it in neutral and pull out the brake. Now I'm going to check the mirrors and open the door. Once I open the door, what happens? My reds and my stop arm will engage. Now that the door is open, I'm checking the mirrors. I'm going to have the student exit 10 feet from the bus. Once I see they're accounted for 10 feet from the bus, I will then close the door. So if I open the door and the lights came on, what's going to happen now? They're going to turn off once I close the door. And then I'm going to check my mirrors again. I'm going to put it in the left turn signal on, unsecure it, put it in drive, and I will merge left only when it's safe to do so. And that will complete the pre-trip and range part of your test. Now you proceed to drive it on the road. So I'm going to forward this to you guys so you can see exactly how it's done in conjunction with the paperwork that you have, okay? You can cut it off.